Hello everyone and welcome back to the SSX Childhood Challenge. This time we're dipping into the original SSX game instead of Tricky, but the same rules as last time will apply. If you missed the challenge video from last time, it will be in the description below. So just like last time, we're picking Zoe because that's my favorite character. We're picking her best board, and we're gonna be picking what's my favorite outfit. Can't really say I had a desired outfit in OG that I always wanted to unlock, but I just chose this one because I figured, yeah, this is a nice outfit. Something important to know about OG is that you have to enable Pro Controls. If you don't have Pro Controls enabled, you can't turn while holding X at all, which is gonna make the challenge impossible. So yeah, for this challenge, Pro Controls are enabled. And if you want to try and do this yourself, then you need to enable them as well. Single event, just as last time, and then with the Super Pro setting, so we get the most difficult AI as possible. Like last time, the course order will be in my experienced difficulty order. So from easy to hard, in terms of the challenge rules at least. So yeah, and the rules will be appearing right now, so you can read them. Alright, so just like in SSX Tricky, I would say that 90% of the challenge with this comes from holding X, because it does make the turning to be more difficult. And then trying to stick on the main path, unless I accidentally end up taking a shortcut because I just can't turn. I believe I take this first shortcut right here. Yeah, I was trying to turn, as you could see, but I failed. So yeah, that was a thing. So whenever those things happens or those moments, that's fine, but I won't go out of my way to actively seek out shortcuts. I will try to stay on the main path as much as I can. And then holding X in itself was because I thought that would be the throttle button or the gas button as a kid, which it obviously isn't, but you know, that's just how I thought video games worked at the time. No knockdowns, didn't know those existed, no tricks, no boosts, but then picking up a speed boost or trick boost is fine, and then moving the board in the air is also okay. So yeah, I thought OG would be harder than Tricky. My experience with the first SSX game is that everything is just slightly harder than Tricky, mostly because of the game's design, how character stats work, and the engine itself. The controller is also a lot more stiff, but you can't quite rotate as easily, and it's a lot harder. The AI is also quite known for being very rubber bandy, and I expected to have a vast amount of difficulties with the AI, and to pretty much always be destroyed to the point of not even being able to complete this on the pro difficulty. But as it turns out, the AI was not that bad. Something interesting right here is that you can see that you can either go left or you can go right, and both are considered main paths. Originally going into this challenge, I thought that, okay, so I should just stick to the blue paths all the time, but that didn't really end up working for reasons I will explain later. So I ended up allowing myself to take black diamond paths as well if I would like to do so, you know? And that was no dream. Nothing difficult here, really. The AI was rather friendly. And of course, with the first SSX game, you don't have a track selector in the menu itself, so you have to exit out every time, so it's gonna be a lot more jump cutty of a video, and it's also gonna be shorter than the Tricky video, because we have one track less, and then me pretty much trimming more things out as well. Overall, I would say OG was pretty easy in terms of this challenge. Only 2 tracks really gave me any difficulty, and it was very strange to experience that because, like I said, I expected going into this, I expected to fail pretty much every single challenge and to lower the difficulty of the AI to even be able to make it. I don't know if I got lucky or if I got skilled or if doing this in tricky first helped. I have no idea. Just overall, I will say that this experience went rather smoothly. So no mental breakdowns this time. They were not needed. And the only really funny things will pretty much appear in Mesablanca. I don't know how funny it is. Oh wait, he's appearing right now. Look at Hero though. So Hero's gonna be a little bit of a theme in the video. Whenever a character would rubber band, it would mostly be Hero. He would become rather pushy and rather fast and stuff, so I'm glad he crashed. But for some reason, Hero was just being quite rude in this run. I don't know why. I guess it does make sense though, because I mean he is the fastest character, you know? So I guess they put him into good use. Yeah. Oh well, there's not much to say about these tracks that haven't already been said in SSX Tricky in another shape or form. Whenever there's a wide track, it is easier because I don't crash into things as easily while turning. And Merc is a rather easy track because it is quite wide. I don't know if it was just my experience, but sometimes it felt like turning while holding the X button was just a slightly bit easier in Tricky. I'm not sure why. I also had some issues throughout the run where, especially in the beginning, it would look like Zoe had uncrouched to me. So I would press the X button to make her crouch, and then she would jump because she was already crouching, and that was kind of awkward in the beginning. I don't know how many of those awkward jumps we will see in the final product, because those were mostly when I started to play. But yeah, pretty much all the tracks up until the last 2 in the video were first attempt and then me being victorious. So yeah. So instead of talking that much about the game, let's talk about the game in a different way, because why do we need to talk about anything that's not SSX? First of all, I would like to point out, or just gonna point this out now, that in the next SSX game, which will be SSX Free then, since we did this in OG and Tricky, doing a challenge where the rules are holding the X button is not gonna work because of the way the turning system works in that game. While holding X, the board would sort of skid out and you will be like broad stance going down the mountain in a very awkward manner. So it's just not doable to do that in a challenge video. I might do something else in SSX Free though that could be done as a challenge, but you're not gonna be seeing my type of childhood challenge in SSX Free. It is also worth noting that I did label this as a childhood challenge. I was still a child when I played SSX OG, but SSX OG is actually the last PlayStation 2 SSX game that I bought. I don't know why, but for some reason I thought that Tricky was the first SSX game. And that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Oh, Jesus, Hero, why? Yeah, like I said, Hero's gonna be a little bit of a theme with this. And look at Jürgen right there trying to push Karen in there. That's nice. Very polite, the AI in this run. But yeah, so for some reason, even though I owned SSX Free, I owned SSX Tricky, and I owned SSX On Tour, like I knew that Tricky came before SSX Free, and I knew that On Tour came after. And the title of SSX Free has a number in it. It's the only SSX game with a number in it. And somehow, I still didn't think that there was an SSX game before Tricky. I don't know why my brain jumped to that logic. I guess I never really thought about it in that way. And it's like, oh, let's play SSX Free, and I see the number, it's like, yeah, that's the third SSX game. Without realizing that there was an SSX game before Tricky and Free that I'd never played. But I guess as a kid, you don't really think about things. You can get this kind of an idea or a perspective of reality or how you view things, and you view them as accurate and you don't really question things. I guess that was sort of where I was at with that. And then one day I went into the video game shop in the city. Oh, remember when video game shops were a thing? So I went in there and I saw this SSX game. That was a used copy of SSX OG, like the first original SSX game. And instead of thinking, oh wow, so this is the game, that's the first game, since SSX 3 is the third game, and then Tricky would obviously be the second game. No, this is not what I thought at all. I saw this used SSX game, just saying SSX, and I thought, oh my god, this is a stupid cheap Chinese knockoff that's literally a virus on the disc that's gonna pretty much explode my entire PlayStation 2. I can't wait to try it. So yeah, I bought it with the mindset of this is going to be completely fake. You know, there's no way this game is a real game. It's just a scam in a box or a disc or case. Jewel case is the word. Yeah. So a scam in a jewel case. And then I think I was maybe 11 or 12 at the time. Could I have been older? I don't know. Anyways, I booted it up, right? And it's an SSX game. And I was so surprised because, like I said, I expected this to be some sort of fake thing, you know. And it was an SSX game with the same tracks as Tricky and characters. And like, Zoe was in the game. It's like, wow, this is a real game. And then my second thought was, I hate it. I really hated it. I didn't like it at all. I just felt that, oh, this is so much worse than Tricky in every single way. The controls are awful. Why is this here? Who made this? Why does it work like this? So for a long time, I didn't really vibe with OG. I didn't really care about OG. But then in the last maybe 4 years or so, I started to gather a little bit more of an appreciation for this SSX game. Because, well, it's the first SSX game, and while other games have aged a bit more poorly in my opinion, as my thoughts on what I like and do not like in SSX games have changed, I feel that OG did a lot of things right. And because it's so similar to Tricky, whenever I wanna stop playing Tricky and I wanna go play an SSX game that is almost exactly like Tricky, but it's harder, I go to play OG, and I enjoy myself, you know? So yeah, that's my experience buying the very first SSX game.
Like, when are we gonna get some decent competition?
Alright, so this is Aloha Ice Jam, and you can see that little jump cut right there. That was me failing the course. I was crashing into a lot of things, and I was so dead last by one of those checkpoints that I figured there's no point in me for even continuing, so I guess that counts as a failed attempt then. But then after the restart, this is pretty much fine, I would say. So it was easier than I expected, that restart aside though. But with Aloha, you would think that, okay, so here's where the AI is really gonna rubber band. Here's when things are gonna get tough, you know? And it didn't really do that. See, this was very advantageous for me, just being able to not wipe out that much in the corners. I know I just said that as I wiped out, but you know, I could have also been slamming into every single one of those corners, and I didn't. So that was fairly advantageous for me.
Hello, chiropractor. This is gonna leave a scar.
And it's also kind of cool to see the edge of the map, or the end of the map over there. Just seeing those tanks or whatever they're supposed to be in the distance. I don't know, I always really liked the design of Aloha Ice Jam in SSX OG. It's a lot more vibrant and colorful. You can see that I'm being a little bit cheesy with these corners though, so that was probably a good reason to why I did as well as I did. And also Jürgen wiping out there definitely helped me as well. And stuff like this, me not wiping out on that corner, that was kind of cool. You can see that there's a black diamond path on the left right there. I decided to go with the blue path this time around. That's the path I would take as a kid. Well, teenager, early preteen, tween, what do they call it? I don't know, it was a little strange doing the childhood challenge in OG because I never really felt like a child while playing it. I know I was, and looking back at it, I was definitely a child. But when I bought OG, I knew how to play SSX, so it's a little bit of a different experience, I suppose.
Oh yeah, baby! Okay, Cloud, let's play follow the leader.
The racer's in place. Hey, everyone.
Alright, so we got Mesablanca next. And the AI absolutely murdering me. And I don't even know why. What did I do to deserve this? Okay, so Mesablanca was the hardest track of the game by far. Well, that's not really true because there's another track after this, but I will explain why Elysium was a little bit easier this time around. But yeah, this track was just awful because of the AI. Especially Hero, he was just on a mission to destroy me, and I don't know why. The kind of rubber banding that Hero was doing on this track was sort of what I expected the entirety of the AI to do throughout all of the racetracks, but they didn't. But for some reason in Mesablanca, Hero just said, yes, I am going to ruin your day. So what ended up happening was that I would come in the silver medal, right? And Hero would beat me. And then I would restart once I'd gotten the silver. And then I noticed something. Because in Mesablanca, there's this little section with the long rails that you can take. And before those long rails begin, there's a turn, or yeah, there's a corner that kind of looks like this corner a little bit. And for some reason, Hero decided to jump over that corner, or attempt to jump over that corner. And then he would crash on the very bank of that corner. And I thought that was kind of funny, you know? So, I restarted because after he crashed, he still managed to overtake me. And you can see how rude he is here. Seriously, I just wish I could punch him, but I'm not allowed to, so we're just gonna leave him be. But once I restarted, after he beat me and got the gold medal, I was paying a little bit more attention, and when that same corner appeared, he went for the jump, and he crashed in the exact same way that he did the round before. And that made me realize something about the AI pathing in the game. And I thought, okay, so he's going to be doing this every single time. So I ended up quitting out to the title screen and then going back in. But unfortunately, I still failed one more attempt, and then I did this attempt. So yeah, this corner right here is the one that he crash landed into in the exact same way. And he did it twice, you know, in a row. So that was kind of interesting. I'm not really a person who pays that much attention to video game design or am knowledgeable about it at all. That's not really my thing. But it was kind of funny for me to notice that. It was interesting. And I wonder what other things he would be doing if I had been paying more attention that would have been the exact same. So yeah, here I was really nervous because yeah, the AI is pretty fast and I'm not as fast, and I don't know how I managed to survive that without falling down. But I did, and I won. And for once, Hero gets the silver. So that was a very nice moment for me. And then we have Elysium. The final track of this challenge. Elysium was the hardest. I streamed this one time to just test things out because I didn't really think this challenge would be possible to do. So I streamed it and I did it in about an hour and a half. And then I think I failed Elysium at least 7 times, maybe more. So when I recorded this, was it yesterday? Day before yesterday? I can't quite remember now. Might have been day before yesterday. Oh well. Either way, I expected to keep on failing in the same manner that I did the first time. But then I realized that I'm gonna have to do something that we talked about before with the Black Diamond path. So I take the Black Diamond path in Elysium to be able to beat it. And I didn't really find a way around it. So when I recorded this, I just did this in one attempt. So it was not a hard track to do, but it's under the requirement that you have to take the Black Diamond path. And as a kid, I never would have gone for the Black Diamond path. Even though it's technically a main path, especially in this game, it's definitely a main path. I never would have gone for that. So because of that, I automatically have to put Elysium as the hardest track. And then Mesablanca would definitely be the second hardest track just because of the unluckiness with the rubber banding. But this track, I'm not sure if it is beatable without taking the Black Diamond path. So far, I didn't succeed, but it might be possible, especially if you get a bit lucky in the glass panels section and stuff. Oh, nice multiple crash there. Oh. The AI is really pushy in this game. I always found that interesting. And they don't really call each other out and stuff in this game, but they will still complain if someone's pushing them, and they have voice lines. It's just not voice lines along the line of, "Hey Mac, why you do this?" So right now you can see that I'm doing a very cheesy thing, or attempting to do. And I would not have made that turn if Zoe hadn't uncrouched herself. But I didn't uncrouch, so I'm counting that as making the turn. But as you can see, I was trying to like strave off the main path a little bit to get on the Black Diamond path. If Zoe hadn't gotten her sharp turn right there by accident, I think I would have flown right past the Black Diamond path. I did a few attempts at that as well when I just flew past the Black Diamond path. And it is definitely important that you hit the Black Diamond path. I say this and then I fall down, and I don't know how this managed to work, but for some reason I got far enough into the Black Diamond path that falling down here still ended up working out. Sure, I am last now, but you know. I guess I got lucky and got the first part of Black Diamond path, but if you don't get any of the Black Diamond path and then you get a bit unlucky at the end, I think there's no way for you to do this. But who knows, maybe if you choose Hero with his Alpine board, maybe the extra speed edge that it will give you might be beneficial to the point of it working out. Who knows. I still think Zoe seems to be a decent character for going pretty fast. Sure, now I'm not doing tricks or doing boosts, but I think she's an overall good character for trying to go fast in this game, considering she's alright at tricks and she has decent stats overall, very balanced stats. She's not a race only or trick only character. So this is also part of the challenge that makes things difficult in SSX OG. These glass panels that I would jump in Tricky, you can't jump them here. I don't really know if it was beneficial for me to crash into Hero there. I don't really know about that. But but it was interesting because if you're last or far behind, the AI will sometimes break the glass before you get there, which will make you have a lot of an easier time with things. Which is definitely what happened there. And I don't really know how I ended up going so much on the right side there, it just happened. I'm also taking the Black Diamond path here. It is definitely part of the main path, and as a kid I would always take that path, you know. Imagine if they would have kept that loop in Tricky. It is cooler as a loop. Except when you fall down though. So yeah, Elysium, hardest by far, but overall this challenge was a lot easier than expected. So thank you for watching.